Thank you for watching what we do with project information management. I'm Christoph, one of the senior managers and head of the Papyrus Academy. And in that context, I was dealing with Klaus, I think now more than about 6 years on project information management topics. Isn't it, Klaus?
Yeah, thanks for the introduction. Yeah, the construction business actually is characterized by a lot of interfaces. A lot of people have to work together. A lot of disciplines and companies have to work together, interfacing with each other. And in the last years especially, a lot of different softwares have become part of the design, have become part of the construction business and placing new challenges. Additionally, if you work in international construction projects or on a certain size of projects, you have especially national characteristics, international characteristics, and local characteristics like standards and expectations by the municipalities.
It means such a construction project has not only a single company to deal with, but many different trades that collaborate. That's of course one of the challenges. So what is your answer to that challenge?
Well, as you said, we have a multi-layer of interaction. We have interaction of data, we have interaction of people. What you can see in the back is a graphic that was produced by Mr. Reisman, Professor Reisman in 2014, showing how he wants to interact with data on cost, on documents, of facility management information. And additionally, just recently we produced this very nice graph which shows with how many interactions between teams and topics we have on the project. So we have data information, we have interaction of people, and all this together we called at that time project information management. And today we are here to talk about this interaction and information flow in a project.
I think what you explain here is also somehow covered by what we have found from the Project Management Institute. There was a research done in 2018, and they just wanted to state how important it is to have a project management focus, which is not now specific for the construction industry. You see, for instance, here, the first point is that most of the projects, for instance, have a waste of budget simply because they're not performing well enough. 10% of the budget in that situation can be easily wasted. Up to 32% of the projects just fail because they don't reach the goals that were originally defined. And why that? You see nearly 40% are caused by priority issues. Internal organizational conflicts find out that certain priorities are conflicting with each other, and that of course usually causes a delay. Also an important step is that if you don't do good requirement specifications, you have easily a scope creep. You see here up to 52% are simply overrunning the project because requirements constantly change. And that is the reason for the last point. You see most of the companies, up to 70%, are outsourcing their project management work because they don't want to take that responsibility. So I think that are very good examples for a much more consolidated project management approach. And that's why we have taken with Clean Energy Solutions this common data environment as a base. What we have seen before from David was the content management part, and you can now really replace content management by this common data environment. Storage, that is the common storage that shares for this collaboration work, as you see now, the consistent omni-channel communication, where you have different choices of the participants to communicate with each other that on the one hand side will cause higher productivity. On the other side, you will also gain much more flexibility by that, and you can handle, for instance, exceptions, things that were not foreseen. That also needs integration with core systems. That means other systems that are not integrated into that environment with adapters, also was already mentioned by David before. That enables effective allocation of resources and their tasks. You have really control about that. You have integrated chat, email, all type of notifications. And in the end, you also need to have a certain rule support to confirm and guarantee that you're still working in a compliant way. So in the end, all of that leads also to the tracking and reporting possibility, which I think is one of the key issues in a typical large-scale construction project, isn't it?
Yeah, Christoph, thanks for this handing over the topic to the reporting. So for us, it's important to keep the information flow in the project from the beginning to the end, and to have a possibility to retrieve the information we want to have at any point in time.
Any point in time, I think that is an important aspect, yes. So can you probably show a little bit more now how this approach with the Papyrus platform was really done?
So first of all, I think why we are here, reaching back about 10, 15 years, I was having the pleasure to work with content management platforms. So Papyrus will not be the first and is not the first. And since that time, I figured out that not a lot of things have changed. If we now look to this very simple graphic, it shows on the right-hand side the information flow without breaks. So it is important to understand that the quality of a project is often characterized that information is lost or maintained. And the target of project information management would be to manage the information throughout the project process. If we now look to the functionalities we tested with Papyrus together the last year, we have a decision tracking from the early beginning. So once you start having an idea, I want to do a construction project, you enter those decisions into Papyrus, and from that point in time, you can track the decisions. Secondly, we have implemented together some note function, because at any time in the project you meet, you make a note, you go on site, you make a picture, you put a note aside. So it's important to compile these notes and this information. Additionally, we have integrated an IFC viewer with BIM. Building information modeling is a new method of designing a three-dimensional method, object-oriented database, which fits quite well, as we figured out with Papyrus, as both are object-oriented and can interact quite well. We have a certain capture function implemented. You will see later. That means once you bring information to Papyrus, it can support you to structure the documents and have it part of the system. Additionally, all functions, you will see later, are also mobile. And you can go on site, use your tablet, and continuously work on the project without having an interface to your backend. Additionally, the defect management for many years in place with Papyrus is also tested on the first projects in the construction business.
So if we take that from this rather functional perspective a step further, you see now at the bottom that we have a set of all these functions available. That is the solid base of PIM. Can you explain us exactly now which PIM components were necessary for your implementation?
Yeah, besides of the functions we have, we need to have a space for people. In every project, independent of construction or not construction projects, we need a space for people, and that means we have contacts. We have a lot of people working together. We have another space that is an inbox. So any correspondence that is coming from outside to a project is captured by this inbox and allocated to the right place in the project, as predefined or even not predefined, then it might need some little support that a supervisor is supporting. We have a private area. This is quite special. Why it is special? Normally in a content management platform, you put in content, and the space within the platform allows for certain collaboration. PIM offers for every company who joins this project a certain little collaboration space for the company itself. All information placed in this area remains with the company. Additionally, as we are in construction project business, once construction starts, all officially approved and ready for construction documents are placed in a certain area, as well as construction documentation. In general terms, legal area on construction-specific topics, site supervision. Once you do a construction, you have some supervisors who look after the progress of a project, have a certain area. And last but not least, of course, if you go to the beginning of a project, to the project idea, you have a design area where the client and designers can collaborate on the same server space.
So all these 6 components that we have seen offer a specific functionality, and I think we will now look through your application in a set of videos and get some insights how that really works in your on-site installation. Can you tell us more about the document creation frame?
What you can see here is a short insight. It's really little insight, an example. You're working in your private space. Private space, as we remember, belongs to a company space. That means several employees of this company can access this space. They're creating a folder. They're used to work in a folder structure. They can drag and drop inside some documents. We can, typically PDFs, a drawing, any information or pictures to provide a full documentation of a project. Or what we can see here, even create a document on their own. Additionally, as we can also see, there's a certain timestamp and the responsibilities and who created the content can be anytime referred to. You see here now what we said earlier, a full BIM integration is available. That means you import a 3D model. This 3D model is split into the elements. If, for instance, a window, a wall, you can click on the wall and you can make a comment on this topic. Say, please change the wall to, change the color, or just add a task what to do with this wall.
And that is also all versioned. That means if you have several versions of a model, for instance, you have also all these versions available for later checking.
Yes, I think on the versioning we even have a short video just after.
We'll look into that.
And what we just see here live on the screen is there's also kind of predefined template to create notes, quick notes, where you can drag and drop a picture inside, make a comment, please make this change. And again here it's important to mention that the full text search applies. So all the content in the private area can also be searched with all the capacities that are also available within the public or other areas.
It means you're just sitting in a meeting and you take notes on a tablet, for instance, and they are not to be copied somewhere, they are right in the project management system stored.
Exactly.
Great. Okay, so the next topic then I think is you mentioned the sharing between these private and public areas. You want to talk about that a little bit more?
I would say the key function of the sharing is the speciality. I would only talk about this one is that you have a private area first. You can create documents there. You're putting documents on your private area. And anytime you want to share it with the public space, with a design area, with another area outside of your private space, you can do so by just taking this drop-down menu and share it to this other space. By this you have a full track record, what you did, at which point in time you shared your documents, and no one can blame you, you have not shared or the document was never there, so you don't have all these issues like challenges with standard email, how it's shared typically.
Never received this.
Yes, exactly.
Right. Okay, so we already mentioned this document versioning. How do you handle that in the system?
The document versioning, as you can imagine, you open a document, you can make some changes on the document and you save it again. So this is the one kind of automatic versioning. As you can see here on this reference example, this is also possible with not native Papyrus documents. You can use Excel, you can use Word, all kind of different formats. And once you click on the Save button, the document is saved as a new version with a timestamp, with the full information who made the change. And this can also be done by uploading documents. So if you upload a document twice, you will see this document is versioned. And
that seems to be now the version history, so you see exactly who has done which modification when. You also mentioned the famous access control topic, so that people are not supposed to see different things that they are not supposed to see.
Yes, in technical terms, access control is the card reader or the door. In this case, it's similar. It means simply in a project of a certain time extent, in a project of a certain size, you have a lot of staff working inside. Right. And especially if stuff is changing, you can make sure by this function that people only have access to those areas they're supposed to have access. So it's just, I would say, a standard function for Papyrus we used also for project information management.
Privileges can be assigned to any document,
exactly.
And then you define who is supposed to see what or not. So what's about this email inbox and the capturing and automation behind that?
Well, I would say, as the audience is aware, Papyrus has a lot of capacity in this regard, so yet we have only used a very little piece of this capacity. The piece of capacity is that incoming documents are captured in a way that they are automatically linked to a folder, they are automatically placed on the right size. And what you can see here on the video is just a little example, for instance, how to create an invoice from your private folder, send it to the invoice inbox, and the speciality about this is that the attachments are automatically saved in Papyrus, especially for technical reviews. Technical documentation can be added and will be automatically saved.
So that means you just send an email to a certain project mail address, yes, including any type of attachments like we see here, TIFF images from scans, or even, I think, other Excel sheets, for instance. And once they are received, they will be extracted and are part of that specific project without any further manual interaction.
Exactly.
Yeah. Good. So, collaboration, I think, is one of the key elements of a project management platform. How did you decide to integrate this chat function?
Yeah, it's a famous chat function. It was actually decided by our colleagues in the office, because what happens, especially the last few years, we figured out that a lot of correspondence, a lot of interaction is happening on a short distance by using, as you know, the famous platforms like WhatsApp, Skype. And so the wish was to integrate a chat function where we can simply contact on a short way all the members of the team and members of the project management platform. So if someone is part of project information management and relates to a project, you can simply select the person you want to have a chat with. For instance, if you miss a document or do a short note. And this chat function allows you to also share documents, external documents, for instance, by dragging and dropping it in an Excel spreadsheet. And the speciality about this, as you may have the experience with, if you use another platform, after a few months this chat is lost. In this case, you have a full text search. You can find the document again, even if it's years back.
So there is no media break. We are using the same system that is used for the rest of the communication. Nothing where participants have to switch between, and it's integrated and searchable, as you say.
Exactly.
Yeah, right. Okay, so you mentioned also the contact management, which is a natural part of onboarding. How did you make use of that?
Well, I think we just were taking the capacities of Papyrus as the standard contact management. Nevertheless, what is special about, we feel, as per this collaboration area for the private companies, that everyone has a private space, there will be a natural demand to keep the contacts up to date, so that you don't have, especially in large projects, contacts that are not up to date anymore. And especially this direct mailing function that we have here and the chat function may bring an add-on to the users of project information management.
So no need for further external Excel sheets where all the addresses are maintained and never up to date.
We hope
it's
so.
All integrated here.
Yes.
Yeah, great. Yeah, you see, you can even write directly from this contact an email, which of course is sent also and stored back into the system without any manual intervention. Yeah, and I think you're quite fond about the mobile capabilities. Why is mobile so important for the construction people?
Yeah, well, first of all, I would say I'm proud. If you see the icons here, and if you know Papyrus from other projects, you have a lot of items. So we reduce them to a minimum so that everyone who downloads the app can really make use of it quickly. And it's important because it's simply becoming daily practice to use a tablet on site. You go on site, you take a picture, you make some notes, you make some comments, and as all the functions and all documents can be made available through this Papyrus solution, it's possible to even approve or forward documents or share documents on site while you are on the construction site. You can even make correspondence that can immediately be seen back and in the office.
So that means you have all the features and functions available at your fingertips, whether you are at your office or at your construction site. and you can even upload new things and also do the sharing that we have seen before, right?
On site.
Yeah. So we see here also the sharing now. Yeah, it's shared with a specific area, and this way, without having to wait until someone has returned to the office, available to the back office people, whilst this person is still on site. Okay, so I know that a project never really finishes. There is always something new in mind. What's the next goals?
Well, right now we are testing the solution we have at hand at pilot projects, and we intend to add additionally the document classification and extraction, especially related to projects. And a project never starts from zero. That means you receive a lot of documents and you have to upload them, classify them. So we feel it is worthwhile to automate this process, especially if it comes to huge document schedules. And the second point is we have now the possibility to create a lot of content in the 6 fields. We have the possibility to create content within Papyrus. We have possibilities to import content from outside. And we would like to add some tasks to this content, to assign a task to a team member, to assign a task to an external company.
So you receive something, you say this is a task for this and that person, you attach that document to the task, and then it ends up in the inbox of that person.
Especially if you are a company working in different locations at the same time, you can assign the task to your team members, even cross-border, and then have a quite nice tracking of the progress.
Right.